Hey friends, it's Anna and welcome to another cozy journaling sesh. This is part 2 to my 2025 reading journal setup, which those pages that I've already made are what we're flipping through now. So as you can see, I already have a lot of the foundational pages like my cover page, index, book count, and whatnot, but there were still a few more spread ideas I had, so we're going to add a couple more pages today. Lots of bookish journaling ideas for you guys, so grab some tea or coffee, get cozy, and let's start creating. We're starting off actually with a very foundational spread. This was actually supposed to be in my original setup. I just ran out of time to film it for that video and never ended up making it until now. This is my book log, and I'm starting off making the title with my label maker. I'm also using some paper materials and stickers from a few small businesses. These book stickers are from the Latoon shop on Etsy. The floral stickers are from Lila Journals, and this beautiful floral washi paper is from the shop Paper Monogatari. All of these are small stationery businesses run by individual artists, so I'll link these and all the supplies I'm using throughout the video in the description box below. I'm creating a little border around where the title will be with the paper and this cream sticky note. So this book log spread will record every book I read and pretty much all of my most important stats for each one. This is what I reference throughout the year and at the end of the year as my summary of all my reading. It's a pretty essential spread. I'm pulling from this lovely lace PET tape set from the WASHI tape shop. Here I have the pink lace. The lace goes very well with this dainty, slightly vintage vibe I have going on in my journal. So I'm putting together a bunch of these elements to make the title area up top, and then in a second we'll actually make the reading log chart. Keeping this reading journal has really become one of my favorite hobbies. It's so nice to turn on some music or an audiobook and do something creative with my hands, something that's not staring at a screen. I want to spend more of my time on hobbies like that, so recently I've also started my first attempts at crochet, another relaxing hobby to pair with an audiobook, and it was actually pretty easy to learn from a class I took online through Crochet, who is kindly the sponsor of today's video. Crochet is an online resource for all things creative, a perfect hub of classes and learning materials for crafters, DIYers, whether you're learning a new skill or improving on an existing hobby. I have been wanting to learn how to crochet for so long now, and I've finally gotten started with the help of their beginner crochet class by Selena Baca. These lessons easily walk me through the first supplies to get, basic stitches, how to read patterns, and then also guides you through some starting projects like this cute headband. Crochet offers over 2,000 exciting classes led by talented and friendly experts, so whether you're interested in sewing or cake decorating, gardening, painting, home decor, or any other many creative topics, Crochet can help you get started. I know I really want to check out some of their baking classes next. And even beside the classes, this community also offers live stream tutorials with instructors and a resource library with patterns, recipes, articles, if you're looking for inspiration that way. So if you're ready to stop scrolling and start crafting, Crochet actually gave me an insane offer for you guys. The first 1,000 people to use my link, which is in the description or with the QR code on the screen, will get you a full year of premium membership to Crochet for only $1.49 USD, a full year of access to all of these resources. So definitely take advantage of that. And thank you so much to Crochet for partnering with me to sponsor this video. Back into this book log, I'm making the chart, which is going to eventually extend to both of these pages. And like I said, this is where I record every book I read along with all my favorite stats to keep track of. I'll title each column up top, but first adding some background color with a few beige colors. This first tiny column is for numbering the books. Then we have the title of each book. Next, I record the book's genre, format, so if I read it physically or as an ebook or listen to the audio. Next is length in either pages or hours, then the dates I read the book, and finally my rating on a 5-star scale. Between the 2 pages, I have enough room for recording 70 books, I think, which should be more than enough space. I left a little room on the bottom right page for some more decoration. I'm using some washi tape here from the Academia set from the Washi tape shop. I am an affiliate with them, so you can use my code ANNABRUNS10 for 10% off this tape set or the lace set or any of their other products. If you saw my part 1 to this reading journal setup, you know I also used that Academia tape set and did a very similar style theme to what I'm doing now. I'll link the part 1 setup video if you haven't seen it yet. It has a lot of my staple spreads, and then the rest of the pages in this setup are some new and fun ideas I'm trying out. That is it for this book log, and before we get into my next pages, I almost forgot I can go ahead and start filling these spreads out because we're already several months into the year. So I'm going to add my January and February reads. I usually fill out this book log on a monthly basis when I do my monthly setups, so you can see I'm referencing those pages to get some of my book stats. Okay, now flipping over to the spread I'm probably most excited about. This is going to be for a Reading Around the World challenge. I wanted to do this ever since I started keeping a reading journal, but I never quite figured out how I would want to set up the spread and keep track of this challenge. But I finally thought out a system that I think turned out pretty good. So I'm cutting out a world map image that I bought from Etsy, I'll link it below, and I'm going to use this smudge tool and brown ink to give the paper a distressed look. When I think of maps, they're always old and like on parchment paper in my mind, so I really wanted to give these pages an antique, adventurous look. This Reading Around the World challenge I've seen people do in different ways, either reading books set in certain countries or books written by authors from certain countries, or both. The goal obviously being to expand your literary horizons. This is going to be a lifelong challenge. It's definitely not just for 2025. It will probably take me decades to actually read a book from all 195 countries. So I think I'm going to make this easy on myself and count either way. So if a book is set in a country or is written by an author from that country, I'm going to record it and just give myself bonus points if it's written by an author set in their native country. That's the ideal goal. I'll probably make a color key to keep track of that, whether it was the setting or author or both. I wanted to track the countries in this challenge in 2 ways. First, with a map where I can color in each country I've read because that's just visually so much fun. But I also wanted a written list of all the countries and the books that I read to check each one off. So you saw I printed a few pages with 3 columns each listing all the different countries. I just copied and pasted that list from Britannica, I think, and formatted it on a Word document. I was trying to figure out how to include 3 pages worth of countries on a single spread and how I could easily transfer this to my next reading journals in years to come, and it hit me that corner bookmarks would be perfect. So I'm folding these squares cut out from sticky notes and pasting the backs into my journal, and now I can easily slip the country pages in and out of the page. I'm really happy with this solution because one of the things holding me back from recording this challenge in my journal as opposed to digitally was knowing I was going to have to transfer it into every new annual journal. But now I can just take the pages out and move them over. I haven't decided what I'll do for the map yet. I did use a removable adhesive tape roller from Tombow, so theoretically I can just peel that map up and paste it in again. But I do have the map PDF saved in my Etsy purchases, so I might just choose to reprint it and color it in again each year. Now that the functional part of the spread is on the page, we're going to decorate around it with the title and some more collaging. I also had to add some of this map tape from a vintage tape set. It fits the theme perfectly, so I'm putting that in the corners and then adding some more of the other washi tapes and book stickers as well. Let me know if you have any book recommendations for me for this challenge. I'm from the United States and will of course be able to check that one off, but if you have a favorite non-US author or books that were set in other countries that you loved, please let me know. And if you have a favorite book from your native country, I'd love to check that out. I know I have a lot of non-US viewers. I think this will be a really interesting and fun challenge. To finish off this spread, I'm going to add a quote on top of the folded map. This comes from George R.R. Martin and goes, "I have lived 1,000 lives and loved 1,000 loves. I've walked on distant worlds and seen the end of time because I read." Which is such a poetic description of reading, and I thought the line about walking on distant worlds made it especially fitting for this spread. Now we're going to flip further into my journal to make the remaining pages, and I thought I'd quickly share with you guys a spread I recently made for tracking my progress reading all the books in the Cosmere universe by Brandon Sanderson. I started Mistborn last year, and I am following a reading order suggested by one of my friends. Since there's quite a lot of books in this universe, I thought it'd be nice to have a visual guide, and I'm tracking my progress by filling in the ratings at the bottom. So that's another fun reading journal idea. Any favorite author who has a long backlog, I think it's fun to have special pages for all their books as you work through them. These next two pages are going to be for tracking two different things. First, my book buying habits, and then book recommendations. On the left, I'm titling it Book Acquisition, which I now realize that I spelled wrong, but it's a little too late to fix it. I think I'm just going to leave it. This page is for tracking all the books I buy in 2025 and certain things like cost and where I'm buying them from. I think a lot of readers can relate to buying books at a faster pace than reading them, which results in a lot of unread books on my shelf. And that's fine to a certain extent, but I would like to have read a higher proportion of the books I own. So tracking my buying habits is a way to keep myself in check. And I also just think it's interesting at the end of the year to see how much total money I spent on books and where I shop from the most and how many of the books I bought I actually read that year, stuff like that. Does this reading journal lead to me tracking an excessive amount of information regarding my reading? Maybe, but it's also so fun, and I think all the tiny insights are just fascinating. I'm decorating this spread pretty similarly to the previous ones, but I was running low on that floral paper, so I switched over to this floral washi tape. It's a little more vibrant, but still matches. This one is part of the Morning Blush set from the Washi tape shop, and I think it's fitting to get a little lighter and brighter since these pages are now among the spring section in my journal. I used to be very particular about the order of my spreads, but I've realized with analog systems like journaling, you just don't always know ahead of time what you need space for. So I'm just putting these setup pages on the next available pages. And honestly, I think it adds a certain laid back charm when, I have annual trackers placed in the middle of random months or there's mistakes in the spelling. That's the nature of handmade things, and it just keeps it personal and unique. As you can see, I have columns for numbering the books, the title, format, where I bought it, the price, and if I've read it or not. I also colored in a row at the very bottom, so at the end of the year I can record my totals. I'm going to go ahead and fill in most of the books I've bought so far this year, and then I'll finish off this spread with a few more stickers and collaging around the title. I think it probably looked fine the way it was, but when I'm doing this collage junk journal style, I never quite know when to stop layering. Also, I just realized a really good spread to put next to this page would be a book wish list, especially if there's any special editions I have my eyes on. But I did not think of that until this voice recording just now. So instead, we are making a book recommendations page. Again, starting off with my title using this label maker, and we're going to kind of inverse the design for this page. I'm using the brown lined sticky note paper instead of cream, and I'll layer some white lace PET tape over that. I'll still keep the floral washi tape lining in the corners though, with a few book stickers in there. I have really been needing a central place to write down book recommendations because I want to keep track of the actual books, but also make a note of who the recommendation came from. That's something I want to remember too. I think a big portion of this page is going to come from comments from you guys because you all do give me a lot of book recs on my reading journal videos, which I love so much. I really appreciate it if you've ever suggested a book for me, and I wanted a place where I could keep track of all of that. We're going to finish up the title, and then the chart for this page is really minimal. I'm just going to make 2 columns, one for the book title that was recommended and a column for who recommended it. We'll see how fast this page fills up. I might need to make a journal tip-in if I need more space. Moving on to the last spread of this setup, this is going to take up both of these next pages, and I'm doing something a little different for the title. I'm going to use these letter stencils because I wanted the font to be a little bit bigger. So I'll trace out the letters in pencil first and then just use a black fine liner to fill them in. This is going to be my page to screen spread, aka a place to record books I've read and the movie adaptations for those that I've watched. I have a long list of movies I want to watch that are based on books I've read, but I'm just not so much a movie person. I like TV shows, but it's hard for me to commit to watching something for 2 hours. Even though I often end up watching TV for that amount of time, but it's never because I plan to watch multiple hours. Anyways, I have so many movie adaptations I want to watch, and I'm hoping that having a page for this will inspire me to actually get going. I also wanted a place similar to how I record my thoughts on the books I read in this journal. I wanted to have little sections where I could journal my thoughts on the movies. So you'll see I'm going to go ahead and set up little sections for the first few movies I want to watch in these larger borders I drew. I thought it'd be a little clever to paste in a book page on the side that says page and then some music paper on the side that says screen, so maybe to represent a movie score. I love using old book pages and music sheets in my journal. They're such great collage materials. And I'm going back to that light floral washi tape again. This time I'm cutting it into thin little strips. I'll fill in the rest of this space with some more of the same elements I've been using, the lace tape, stickers, some tapes from my vintage set. I love creating a light academia cottagecore-ish aesthetic for my reading journal pages, and then I tend to go more dark academia in the fall and winter months. I'm going to pre-fill in one of these pages with the movie adaptations I know I really want to watch next. So I printed out the book cover and film covers for 3 titles, and we're going to make 3 little sections within the left box. Like I said, I wanted to leave a little bit of room where I can journal a quick movie review, maybe anything that struck me that was different from the book. I'm going to leave the right page here completely blank, and I figure I can just fill that in as I go if I watch any more movies after these. The 3 I have here are Killers of the Flower Moon, which is a true crime book I just read in January. My full review is in my January wrap-up, but it was really interesting and I've heard great things about the movie. And in each little section, I'm writing the title of the book/movie in the middle, and I'm also adding my star ratings to the books. I don't normally rate movies when I watch them, but I thought it'd be fun to do that with these movies and then compare the rating to the book. Next, we have the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I'm sure you know of, the Hunger Games prequel. And finally, Where the Crawdads Sing, which was a really popular book and movie a few years ago. I was reading the book actually right before the movie came out, and I still haven't seen it. And all of these books, actually, me and my husband have both read and have been saying we're going to watch. So I'm going to show him this page too, and maybe that will give us both motivation. That is it for my part 2 of my reading journal setup. We'll take a quick look back at all the spreads. Be sure to check out my reading journal playlist if you want to see my monthly setups and book reviews. I've gotten a little behind on those, but I am going to post an update next month. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave your book recommendations in the comments below, and happy reading!